Are you with me? And if you examine where the rule came from, it didn't come from the Bible. It came from the world. It came from your boys. Right? Or it came from living with women who just got on you, and after a while you're like, woman! It's rules, strongholds, things in your head that are not the word of God. And we operate by those rules and wonder why bad things happen to us. But Mark's already told us the reward of the unrighteous man. I'm following rules that's not the word of God. Well then, I should get the reward of those who don't follow the word of God. Calamity, sickness, actually, that stuff should be happening. I should say, yep, that's expected. Just like I expected the sun to rise. We as Christians keep doing foolishness, like holding on to strongholds, and then upset when the result of having a stronghold happens. And God's like, well, you chose this. You have these strongholds. You have these rules that are not my rules. Stronghold. All right? So, for anger to exist, there has to be a rule before anger. All right? Since that rule is not of God, that's a stronghold. Okay? But for there to be a rule, something has to own the rule, which means you are no longer dead. You're out of the grave, which means pride. So notice, I can start with anger, sin of anger, but to get there, I needed the sin of judgment. But to get there, I needed the sin of lust, specifically the lust of vindication. And before that, there had to be a person to lust, so pride. So if I'm angry, I'm guilty of 4 sins, minimum. If I'm angry, I'm guilty of 4 sins at a minimum. Pride, lust, judgment, anger. Minimum. My anger may be because something wasn't done the way I want it to be done. Well, now I'm discontent. I'm not satisfied. Oh, next sin. Being discontent is a sin. Philippians 4, be content. Okay. All right, just making sure. All right? And I can just keep going. But at the base of all anger is those 4 sins. Pride, lust, judgment, anger. So when I say, oh, Lord, forgive me, I need to confess all 4. Are you with me? I need to confess all 4. Now, let's soften anger. What if I'm just irritated? Just irritated. Is that a sin? I mean, just irritated. Is that a sin? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a sin. It's the same anger, just turned down. But it's the same anger. But we call it a different word. I'm not angry, I'm irritated. Or I'm not angry, I'm frustrated. Or whatever. We have these different words. You're angry. Just this one that didn't make you blow off steam and but you're still angry. And as Christians, we have to start owning that kind of stuff. Okay? So I use that to show how we can have a stronghold. And a stronghold, notice from the stronghold, sins. Because if I can't go past that stronghold, then I'm always going to keep sinning in that area. Are you with me? Since I got a few married men, let me use a married man's example. Okay? The first few years of marriage, there were certain chores in the house I had deemed woman's work. The problem was, my wife had deemed them man's work. And we had an impasse. And for years, every time that particular chore wasn't done, I would be just steaming. And I would have the audacity to go to God. Lord, you chose this woman for me. You need to fix it. He'd be like, she ain't the problem. Now, I'm sure God never uses, slang, but that's what it sounds like. Anyway, she ain't the problem. What do you mean she's not the problem, Lord? She didn't do that. Son, she's not the problem. Son, she's not the problem. All right. And I go steam off. Took about a year for me to understand what he meant that she's not the problem. I didn't get that. But the Lord is saying, the way of the Lord is mysterious. No! He was being very specific. He really meant, son, she's not the problem. You have the problem. Because what she's doing, right, shouldn't irritate you. So let's get you to the place where it doesn't irritate you. Then I'll talk about her. Now, that took a few years for me to get to that place. Okay? That was that wasn't an easy transition. But to get there, I had to renounce that particular chore was woman's work. And recognize, since I'm the head of my family, all chores belong to me. It's no different than why the CEO of Enron was persecuted. Taken to court. What's the word for it? Prosecuted. Stop persecuting. Because he was a CEO. You're the head. You're the head. Of course we're going to prosecute you. Right? Well, I'm the head of my family. If a chore doesn't get done, my responsibility. And here's the funny thing. If you run a team for SAP, and you know, we got to code all these modules, and you come 2 days before and recognize you'd assign John to do this one, it ain't done. Well, your choice is yell at John. That might work. Okay? More than likely, you probably need to get it done. Because your deadline doesn't change. You with me? You told the customer, in 2 days it's going to happen. So if John didn't do it, you better get busy. Are you with me? There's no excuses to the customer. That's not done. Are you with me? So Lord had said, son, when did I say that was your responsibility? So I've determined there's only one female chore. Breastfeeding. I'm not even equipped. It's like I gotta buy. When the baby was breastfed, I can't help it. Honey? But for the most part, everything else falls on me. The amazing thing is, once I had that realization, when it didn't get done, I just simply did it. I was no longer angry. Why? There was no rule to be broken. I got rid of the rule. I renounced that it was woman's work. Yes. Which means I never saw myself doing it. You with me? I say that because, since we have married people, men have these rules for our wives, and most of them aren't found. You're supposed to, what does it say? Or worse, it does say. That's the other trap I got. It's Proverbs 31, verse 10 down. The virtuous woman. Yeah. Well, honey, says right here, if you don't know, that doesn't work. Yes. Do I want my woman to fulfill the virtue of a virtuous woman? Absolutely. Am I going to do it by turning into the law? No. Because God doesn't do that to me. He loves me. Doesn't give me law. See, that's the old covenant. I'm in the new covenant. He gives me love. He gives me grace. So I found, if I do the thing I want her to do, guess what she does? She does it. I don't have to say anything. And it dawned on me one day. Of course, God made her to be a help, meet for me. The word meet means suitable. He made her to be a help suitable for me. And he made